What's up, my fellow philosophers? Stu for Stulosophy, the Drunken Philosopher here. So, I'm just sitting around one day minding my own business. Alright, I wasn't minding my own business, I was on Twitter, okay, you caught me. Anyway, I saw a true blue believing Mormon accuse an ex-Mormon of not understanding basic logic. Now, I have a bit of an interest in both logic and theology, but it's not like I went to school and got a degree in these things or anything, and so I'm just a layman, really, right? Maybe he could help me out. So I asked, super nice and super respectfully, because really, when have I ever been not respectful? What is your logical reason for believing in Mormonism? And I asked that because in my layman's understanding of logic, I consider Mormonism to be quite illogical. But instead of an answer, I got a question. Now my instinct was to throw a childish fit and ask him if the reason he was refusing to answer my question was because he didn't actually have an answer to it. But you know what? I did have an answer to his question, and it would be really simple and easy to answer it. And so I did. I told him, the evidence doesn't match the absurdity of the claims. You know, even though he didn't answer my question, I went ahead and answered his, and now that I've done that, maybe he'll answer mine. Well, that wasn't the case, but this time his tactic actually worked. I got distracted and followed him down a path where he apparently felt more comfortable. And that place of comfort was to simply believe that the evidence matched up quite nicely, thank you very much. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on that. Well, not quite. I mean, I would like to agree with you, and so I want to see the evidence that matches the claims. Now, apparently there are mountains and mountains of evidence supporting the claims made in the Book of Mormon, but he didn't have time for that, so he agreed to give me just one thing, which I expected to be the best thing. So let's take a look at the totally compelling evidence that best matches Mormonism's most absurd claims. Let's start with this article I found in the totally unbiased Mormon Church-owned Deseret News, written by the totally unbiased famed Mormon apologist Daniel Peterson. He says, according to Mosiah 7:4 and 8:8, it's easy to lose cities in the Mesoamerican jungle and to walk wholly unaware past massive structures. So wait, Joseph Smith wrote about it being difficult to see when you're in a thick forest full of trees and shrubbery, and the things might be hiding behind the things that you can't see past. And in actuality, that's the way it really is in a thick forest full of trees and shrubbery? Wow. Now hold on. Hold on to your hats because there's more. They found lots of previously unknown structures indicating that the estimated population is quite a bit higher than previously thought. And would you just look, in Mormon chapter 1 verse 7, it very clearly states, the whole face of the land was covered in buildings. Peterson further writes that researchers say that the ubiquity of defensive walls, ramparts, terraces, and fortresses lead to surprising insights into the militarization of the Maya lowlands. And what do we see in Alma 49:13 and Mormon 8:8? That people built defensive structures and went to war. They found a network of roads, just as told in 3 Nephi 6:8. Apparently Mayans also farmed on an industrial scale, just as found in Alma 129 and Helaman 6:12. Now again, we could go back and forth all day long on the mountains of interesting evidence, but I think you and I have both seen enough to be completely convinced, haven't we? I mean, never mind that what we've been given by the person who accused another of not understanding basic logic is a composition fallacy. This actually has me really excited because I can finally prove once and for all that space aliens live among us and that the only thing they want for us is for us to enjoy the hell out of some good shellfish. You see, yesterday I woke up, brewed some coffee, got in my car, drove on the interstate down to the strip where I passed by a volcano which spewed lava all over the road, and I would have been caught up in it were it not for a Grand Canyon touring helicopter swooping down and rescuing me and flying me away to safety. Now, while I was on the helicopter, space aliens caught us up in a tractor beam, and next thing I know, they're on board the helicopter with us. They immediately start cooking lobster and served it up to us. And you know what? It was the best lobster I'd ever had. I know, it sounds completely crazy, right? Like, you'd think you would have heard about it on the news, or somebody would have uploaded smartphone video of it to YouTube or something, right? Well, even though we don't have that, here's the thing. I have a bag of coffee beans, a grinder, and a coffee brewer, making it very likely that I drink coffee every morning. If you interview people who know me about my coffee drinking habits, they'll tell you that I have a coffee pretty much every single morning. I actually have a car. Check it out, guys. It's an interstate. There's a place called the Strip, and yes, there's a volcano on it. And finally, there are companies that give helicopter tours of the Grand Canyon. So, there you go. Obviously, space aliens are among us and just want us to eat lobster. Now I know what you're saying. Stu, just because parts of your story are believable because people do everyday things that people do every day, and the story contains things that exist in virtually every city everywhere around the world, doesn't mean that the crazy ass stuff is also true. If you want me to believe the whole story, then you're gonna have to show me evidence of the crazy shit, not just the normal stuff. And to that I say, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. What I've done is create an unintended consequences argument. The idea being to use a person's argument against them by using the same kind of evidence to conclude something that you both agree is ridiculous and absurd. In my case, I used the same kind of composition fallacy to show how the same type of evidence he used to support his belief that Mormonism is true can be used to support pretty much any claim that someone claims is true, and why his totally compelling evidence is not at all compelling. It's a composition argument, that because parts of it are true, the whole of it is true. Parts of my story are provable. Parts of my story have strong evidence and are easily believed. But other parts of it are just crazy. And so it's not the parts of Joseph Smith's mythical tale where the ancient peoples of the Americas live in pretty much the same way that ancient peoples all over the world at the time lived that I find to be absurd. But Stu, what parts of the Book of Mormon are absurd? How about the priesthood being used to curse non-believers with muteness? A prophet magically striking dead anyone who threatens him. Evidence that the ancient peoples of the Americas knew and wrote in Reformed Egyptian. Conjuring a free-floating pillar of fire via prayer. I think you know where I'm going with this. It's the absurd parts that I'm asking about. So put that right arm to the square and use your priesthood to call down a curse on me from God. Show me evidence of that, and then you'll have my attention. Well, like I said, I am a complete layman when it comes to logic and theology. So you guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, continue to philosophy on. Continue to think critically about the claims of religion and philosophy on, my fellow Stulosophirs.